Welcome to UNCAGED. Today we're speaking with James McCoy. James, I'm excited to talk to you about a space that I don't know a lot about, so I'm actually excited to learn more about what you're working on. James is the president of the Project Management Institute in, I don't know the exact region. I have it the Mile High chapter, and I'll let James tell us more about that. He's also a PMO team leader at SSP Innovations. We're going to be talking a lot about PMO, lovely acronym for Project Management Office, and kind of the project management area in general. It's a huge area and challenge for literally, I would say, any company of all sizes, large companies, small companies, medium-sized companies, really need to figure out how they manage projects more effectively. And so James has figured it all out, I hope. But he's going to tell us a little bit about what he's doing in that space. But before we get there, James, tell us a little bit about you and your career.
Thank you, Ben. I can't say that I know it all, but I've been in project program PMO management for about 35 years. Started in the in the 80s, late 80s, and worked for companies like GE, IBM, Siemens, and so, large clients like Microsoft, Coca-Cola, et cetera. So from anywhere from startups to Fortune 100 clients, just implementing technical projects, and then also implementing project management, or what we would call now today PMOs in the various companies. So I've actually built and managed 3 PMOs, one for GE, IBM, and then one for a consulting firm. Did some international consulting all around technical project management and PMO leadership.
James, let me ask kind of a two-parter here. I mean, for those that are not as familiar with the PMO space, tell us a little bit about what that work entails.
Well, Ben, the PMO space is really a coordination of the various project management a company may have, right? So, in the old days, we needed to get things done. So we would give it to somebody and manage a project. And then something else needed to get done. They gave it to person number 2 and they managed the project. Well, and everybody managed it the best they could, right? And it ended up in different ways. So I guess at its core, a project management office is an office or a structure that focuses on the processes and artifacts of how projects will be implemented, rolled out, reported on, et cetera. So it's kind of a centralization, I would say, so to speak, in today's world, whatever centralization is, but centralization of the project management activities.
And when you look at the roles that you play, I mean, you've been an active member in that space for almost 8 years. And I would love to know kind of what are folks thinking about in the project management space right now? What are the hot topics?
Well, there's, boy, that's a big question, right? So the project, I have been on the board for about 7 years. I actually got elected again, so be president again until the 2024-2025 term as well. So, what are people thinking about this space? I'll answer that maybe in 2 or 3 different ways. The first space is just the knowledge, just the core knowledge, and obtaining that knowledge, of project management that would be applicable to any company in the world, right? So now each company handles things differently. In a project management space, some project managers aren't responsible for finances, just for an example. But I would say just obtaining knowledge and certifications is a big theme, big hitter. Also here, I would say over the last 5-10 years, in the technology project management space, they have, I don't know if you've heard the keywords of agile or scrum master or things, so there have been, I would say, various skills and that have been implemented to handle, I would say, software development or implementation type projects too. That's kind of a hot topic as well. And then you mentioned PMOs, right? So, a lot of, I would say all companies have felt pain for how they have delivered projects in the past, right? So one of the hot topics is, okay, how do we put it together? How do we coordinate it? How do we make sure that for an example, project managers put out the same information reports to executives, right? As just one example. So how do we corral that and implement what's best for the company and efficient for the company? And that's probably the third hot topic, but I'll stop there. There's a lot of, things pop up from project management perspective. And I think above all, my hobby horse is going to be communications management, because it all takes good communications to implement it all. So.
Yeah, and I find the space quite interesting because I think about something I probably, like many business leaders, are thinking about is innovation, right? And how companies implement the new, evolve their solutions and products and services. And I just would be curious, in this up and down economic world that we've been in for the last several years, how has that impacted the appetite for pushing forward projects? Do you find that it has sped certain types of projects up and slowed other ones down, or what are you seeing in that space?
Yeah, it's a good question, man. From an innovation perspective, I think it comes from two areas mainly, at a high level. One area is our pain points, a company's pain points, right? What's the pain of rolling out projects? What can we improve on, right? So I think that has been the main driver through the years. And then I would say the second big driver to innovation is technology, right? Technology comes out. I mean, now we're in the world, as of the end of last year, we're in the world of ChatGPT, right? And AI. I mean, it's at the forefront here. It's knocking on everybody's doors, for an example. But we've had technology push innovation for quite some time. Microsoft has been in there, and various project management tools, risk management tools, schedule management. So there's been, I would say, those two areas have been driving innovation. So what am I seeing now? I'm seeing those same two areas be the drivers. I've seen that through my whole 35 years of existence. Now technology's changed big time in 35 years. But I would say those two drivers are, our companies are grabbing hold of their challenges and wanting to improve, and they have to grab a hold of some technology to make some improvements as well.
So pain points and the use of new technologies, those are absolutely key. But James, I mean, I think I'd be remiss. Here I am talking to the president of the Project Management Institute and PMI. Tell me a little bit about what gravitates you to the PMO space. I always find it interesting to understand why people focus on what they do, but I'm wondering if you were the guy that always was organizing things when you were growing up, or what is it?
The funny thing is, Ben, I've always been, I would say, a self-starter, even after in my college years or what have you. But, I went to school, honestly, I got a degree in electronics engineering technology, right? So it was, I quickly went into the networking space, into technology space. And then it was just out of luck, honestly, Van, that I started working for a startup company called GE Computer Service within a big conglomerate, right? And it exploded to, I think it was like a $3-4 million business within months, So one day the VP came to me and said, "Hey, James," he says, you're a project manager now, right? So that's how, everybody has their stories of how they got into it. But, at this point in my career, um, since I've been doing it for 35 years, I've learned quite a bit, and I've learned to like it. I like most parts of managing projects, and there's a certain level of leadership aspect and helping others, right, at this point in my career that has been very valuable. And you mentioned, one last thing I'll say is, you mentioned my role here at the PMI Mile High chapter. So Project Management Institute is the largest project management nonprofit organization in the world. And they have chapters in big cities throughout the world, right? So the Mile High chapter here is, it goes up and down, but we're somewhere around the 10th largest chapter in the world. We have over 4,000 members. So I guess learning the information, loving what I do, being comfortable with doing it, being able to step out of my comfort zone to communicate, to get things done, right? It's just, I don't want to say it's natural for me at this point, but it's something that I'm very familiar with, and that I find myself in a spot, being the president of the chapter, being able to help various folks in project and program management, whether they're just entering into it, whether they want more knowledge, or whether they want to switch industries. So that's kind of where I am in the space. But I guess I learned by fire.
Yeah.
Just
I gotta think that if the Project Management Institute members make you the president, that means you must be pretty good at managing projects. Because managing the project of the Project Management Institute is probably the ultimate project, I guess.
Well, we do have over 4,000 members, and we do a lot of programs to support support folks and help folks, educate folks. So it does keep me busy, I guess you could say, right? So
absolutely. Well, James, we are living in interesting times. We made it through the lovely pandemic years, and then we found ourselves in essentially a bit of a whirlwind of an economic cycle. And, when you look out over 2023 and beyond, what's on the horizon in the PMO space?
Studies show that there's going to be a growth in project management. There's been a constant acceptance of project management in the corporate world. I would say over the last 20 years, especially. So that growth is continuing. It's unprecedented. You're right. We did go through kind of an unknown spot in our history with a pandemic, but it did change the aspect of project management, like it did for other careers. Like there's a lot of remote space, right? Not working in the office. How to corral and get things done with virtual teams became a very big reality, right? And but as companies have accepted project management, I would say as a whole, they've seen successes. So they've actually put a little bit more requirements about what they've asked for. So, I'm looking for someone with this much experience. I want somebody that has PMP certification, right? Or various certifications. So the demand for project management is it's still out there. I know there's a little lull in the job market, it seems like right now, but project management still seems to be one of those areas that companies are still presenting a need through job openings, et cetera.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but a lot of times where you have various projects, let's say they're technical projects, and you'll have let's say a technical leadership team that'll be in place, but they have day-to-day responsibilities, they have day-to-day tasks, and quite often these projects get behind schedule, they get over budget, they get misstaffed or misstructured. And so I see the need so clearly. I also find it quite interesting, this idea of the PMO role, not only it being a leadership of a project, but it being a partner with other leaders in a way. And I just thought that that would be an interesting question for you, because I think that's a skill set that a lot of folks don't really think about. How can I be a better partner in a way, right? Inside an organization. And I feel like the PMO role really requires you to be an excellent partner.
Yeah. That's a good question, Bant. It's an age-old thing in corporate America where, back in the day, somebody did a good job, well, hey, we want to give you more responsibilities, right? We want you to, not only are you good at coding, right? And then doing a quality check, but hey, we're going to let you manage this project now, right? And so we found that just because someone is good at one thing doesn't make them good at managing, project management. Hey, a lot of technical professionals like to get things done, right? They like to code, they like to check things out, they like to break things and fix them again, and they like to and have a trophy for what they've done, whether it's systems or software or what have you. And when they work with the client, you'll get answers. The client says, "Is it going to be done next week?" Right? And and they don't know how to respond to some just general management questions like that. So partnership, as you have pointed out, is very key. And I think that putting your arms around being a good partner and being a good communicator, which again, that's one of my hobby horses there, communication management. But in today's day and age, you really have to be a good team worker, teammate, a good partner. So like at SSP Innovations, we have what we call a project, a PE, right? Project executive, which is more a technical focused on the project, right? And then you have the project manager, right? What manages but they partner, right? They can't really work in a silo without understanding where technology is, what needs to be done, and where the schedule is, what needs to be done, so on and so forth. But in today's world, especially after going through the pandemic, it really forces everyone to kind of focus on their relationships, focus on communication, building that partnerships, because let's face it, partnerships was a little easier if you sat in the next cube every day, right?
Yeah.
Versus being remote and trying to talk to somebody in another state all the time, right? So
being a good partner is absolutely critical for the success of projects. And I think that this space in general is going to actually, strangely enough, be more important going forward, as we really need individuals to wrangle these ever more complicated, fragmented challenges that we all face in this very, very rapidly evolving business landscape. If someone wanted to learn more about what you and the SSP team are working on, or if they wanted to learn more about the Project Management Institute and what's up at the Mile High chapter, where's the best place to find you, James?
As far as the project management PMI chapter, what we're doing there, we have a website. It's called pmimilehigh.org. So you'll find pretty much everything that we do there in events and what's really happening in the Denver metro area at the Mile High chapter. You get to meet all the board members. I could be reached via email at president@pmimilehigh.org. So, but that website is a good site to, go and just check out what's happening at our chapter, all the events that we're doing. For the second, for the other thing that you mentioned, what's SSP doing? And, I would say At a high level, we're rolling out. We have some great clients in the utility space. So we're rolling out technology, systems and software, and there's other spaces that roll out different technology. You got your CRMs, your IVRs, your ERP systems, right? Salesforce. I mean, we can just go down the list, right? So as far as learning about technology, I think you really have to hone in. Okay, well, what do you want to hone in on from a technology perspective? Because there's so much, right? And then kind of look up some major companies there, look at what they're doing. But from a project management space, there's also PMI.org, right? There's a lot of education, just project management education, from all of the knowledge areas. So it helps folks get up to speed as far as project and program management and PMOs, et cetera. So those are I would say, some resources to look into, to see what's going on.
Well, James, thank you so much for joining us on the Uncaged show today. We've been speaking with James McCoy. He is clearly a veteran in the PMO space with a proven track record. He's delivered end-to-end programs and projects transformations, and he's currently the president of the Project Management Institute, Mile High chapter, one of their larger chapters. He's also the team leader and manager for PMO for SSP Innovations. James, thank you so much for being on the show. We look forward to having you back.
All right. Thanks, man. Have a great day.
Cheers.